A single female mosquito doesn't need a pond. She doesn't need a swamp. She needs a bottle cap, 1 tablespoon of stagnant water, a splash of rain, and 300 eggs. In 5 days, those eggs become biting adults. In 2 weeks, 1 mosquito becomes 10,000. And the $11 billion pest control industry has built an empire on the fact that you will never learn how to stop her. Here's what they don't want you to know. A peer-reviewed study published in the journal Science discovered a natural compound that is 14 times more effective at repelling mosquitoes than DEET. 14 times. It costs $3. It grows wild across all 50 states. And every time you walk past the catnip plant at the grocery store, you walk past the most powerful mosquito repellent on Earth. The trap you're paying for. Imagine a chemical fog rolling across your lawn. The truck idles at the curb. The spray drifts over the grass, the flower beds, the kids' swing set. Within hours, the mosquitoes are gone. So are the honeybees. So are the fireflies. So are the dragonflies and the jumping spiders that used to hunt mosquitoes by the dozen. A dragonfly takes nearly a year to mature. A jumping spider needs months to grow from hatchling to hunter. But a mosquito? From egg to egg layer. 5 days. This is the pest resurgence paradox. The chemicals kill everything. Then the chemicals break down in sunlight and rain. Then the mosquitoes come back, faster than ever because their predators are gone. The company returns next week. They spray again. You pay again. The trap resets. The US military learned this lesson the hard way in 1942. In the Pacific Theater, malaria was killing more American soldiers than Japanese bullets. The War Department launched a desperate search for a chemical shield. Scientists in Orlando tested over 40,000 compounds. 4 years later, they found one. They called it DEET. They patented it in 1954, and for half a century, DEET became the undisputed king of the $11 billion pest control industry. But while the military was testing 40,000 synthetic chemicals, a different solution was already growing in the ditches of the Deep South. The plant they forgot, the Choctaw knew it, the Creek knew it, the Seminole knew it. American beautyberry, Calicarpa americana, a roadside shrub with clusters of bright purple berries. They crushed the leaves between their palms until they went wet and green. They rubbed the mash on their skin, on the necks of their horses, on the arms of their children. The insects stayed away. For generations, modern science called this folklore. Then, in 2006, the USDA Agricultural Research Service in Oxford, Mississippi, finally tested the plant. They isolated a compound called calicarpinol. They ran it head-to-head against DEET. The wild bush matched the synthetic chemical, repelling mosquitoes, fire ants, and lone star ticks with the same efficiency. 0 petroleum byproducts. The study was published. The compound was identified. And nothing happened, because you cannot patent a shrub. The 14 times breakthrough. 5 years before the beautyberry study, researchers at Iowa State University made an even more extraordinary discovery. They were testing catnip oil, the compound that makes house cats roll on the floor. The active ingredient is called nepetalactone. The scientists wanted to understand how it works on insects. What they found changed everything. A female mosquito hunts using a highly sophisticated chemical navigation system. From 100 feet away, her antennae lock onto the carbon dioxide you exhale. As it closes in, she reads the thermal heat of your skin and the microscopic plumes of lactic acid rising from your pores. She doesn't see you. She smells you. Nepetalactone doesn't mask your scent. It doesn't irritate her feet. It binds directly to her TRPA1 receptor, a primary chemical pain sensor. The molecule triggers a violent neurological overload. Her navigation system short-circuits instantly. She can no longer track carbon dioxide. She can no longer detect body heat. Her survival instinct forces her to flee. When the Iowa State researchers ran the numbers, They found that catnip oil was 14 times more effective at repelling mosquitoes than DEET. 14 times. The study was published in the journal Science. It made headlines for a weekend, then it vanished from the mainstream. Not because the science was wrong, because catnip is a common weed that grows in every state. You cannot patent it. You cannot build an $11 billion industry around a $3 plant. The targeted strike. Repelling adult mosquitoes keeps them off your skin tonight. But a permanent solution requires stopping the next generation before it ever becomes a problem. That's where the real innovation, the one the chemical industry never talks about, comes in. Bacillus thuringiensis israelensis, or BT1, is a naturally occurring soil bacterium discovered in a desert pond in 1976. It produces microscopic crystals called delta endotoxins. These crystals are harmless to everything except one specific target, the gut of a mosquito larva. Here's why. A mosquito larva's digestive tract is highly alkaline. When the BT1 crystal enters that alkaline environment, it dissolves and turns into a potent toxin that destroys the larva's midgut within 24 hours. But the digestive tracts of humans, dogs, birds, frogs, and honeybees are highly acidic. In an acidic environment, the BTR crystal remains completely inert. It passes through the body without any effect. Zero toxicity. Zero harm. Zero collateral damage. You can buy BTY in small compressed discs called Mosquito Dunks for about $8. You drop one in a 5-gallon bucket of water. You add a handful of grass clippings to trigger fermentation. The same scent that tells a female mosquito, this is the perfect place to lay your eggs. She will choose your bucket over almost any natural water source on your property. She lays her eggs. The larvae hatch. They feed on the water. They ingest the BTY. And within a day, the entire generation is dead. The bucket becomes a biological black hole, quietly deleting the local mosquito population week after week. No poison on your lawn. No dead bees. No dead fireflies. Your 2-layer shield. To turn this science into a real defense system for your home, you need 2 simple tools. First, the perimeter spray. By sourcing pure catnip essential oil, you can create a highly potent boundary spray for pennies. Here's the exact recipe. 20 drops of pure catnip essential oil, 2 cups of water, and 1 teaspoon of standard dish soap. Shake well and spray along fence lines, under decks, and around your patio. The evaporating oil creates a localized TRPA1 sensory barrier that adult mosquitoes fundamentally refuse to cross. Second, the ovi-trap. Fill a 5-gallon bucket 2/3 full of water. Add a handful of grass clippings or dry leaves. Drop in 1 B2I mosquito dunk. Cover the bucket with a coarse wire mesh to keep out birds and pets. Place it in a shady corner of your yard. That bucket will attract every female mosquito in the neighborhood. She will lay her eggs there. The larvae will hatch. The BTI will kill them. And your property will become a biological dead zone for mosquitoes without a single synthetic neurotoxin. The $11 billion question. The average American spends $150 to $200 every year on mosquito control. Professional spraying runs $400 to $600 per season. Citronella candles, which are only 15% effective, still sell billions of dollars worth annually. Bug zappers kill more beneficial insects than mosquitoes. They are almost completely useless, yet they are still marketed aggressively. Why? Because the industry's business model depends on you never learning the truth. A catnip plant costs $3 and produces unlimited repellent every season. A BTI mosquito dunk costs $8 and treats standing water for 30 days. A bat house costs $40 and brings in natural predators that eat 600 to 1,000 mosquitoes per hour. A pair of gloves and a bucket cost nothing. You can eliminate the standing water that breeds mosquitoes in 10 minutes. The chemical industry cannot compete with that. So they spend billions making sure you never hear about catnip, never hear about BTI, and never hear about the 14 times study. They keep selling you synthetic neurotoxins that kill your yard's natural defenses. They keep guaranteeing that your mosquito problem will return just in time for next month's service call. But the plants are still growing. The bacteria are still in the soil. The bats are still flying. The knowledge is still recoverable. The only question is, how many more summers will you pay for the lie? If this story opened something for you, subscribe to USA Grows and hit the bell. Every week we bring back one more thing they tried to erase. The next story opens soon.